Because it's so exhilarating too to be here. It makes you a better person. You learn more, you get smarter, you feel traveled. I'll send videos to like my family and friends and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool that you're doing that. Because who says that they're just gonna come to Vietnam, like to teach? Like it's so random to some people, but honestly, like we'll remember this for the rest of our lives.
As someone who's on the fence for a long time on it, I would say, just do it. If I was still at home right now and Leah was sending me videos or pictures of them in Vietnam, be like annoyed with myself and pissed that I didn't do it.
I'd rub it in your face too.
And yeah, that I didn't. I would regret it, I think.
Hi, it's Alex here from Ninja Teacher, and we're here today with two of our alumni who have been living and teaching English in Vietnam for a couple of months now. So we're going to be chatting to them about their experiences of teaching English in Vietnam, how it is living here. So let's get into it. How are you two doing today?
Good. A bit tired, yeah. But the weather's great, and so you can't be sad when the sun's out,
The rainy season kind of started. Yesterday it was pouring, and so I'm enjoying it better because it's a lot
Cooler?
nicer out and cooler versus when we first arrived and it was just extremely hot.
Yeah,
a miserable time.
A little cooler with the rain, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the rainy season I think is kind of my favorite so far, just because it gets down to like that 28 and I don't have to be dying in sweat and just be like 110 outside.
Or have your AC blasting.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just started though. We'll see after a few months.
I'm still gonna love it. I love water.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch all the lightning and hear the thunder yesterday because it was going for hours when normally it would just stop for, go for 30 minutes, then it's done. Then the rest of the day is fine, but it was for hours yesterday.
I was at work and it was like monsoon coming down. I didn't realize that a lot of these buildings have metal roofs either.
Okay.
And you can just hear it just slamming into it. And I was like, oh my God, am I gonna die? I was terrified at first, but then I was like, it's just water.
The white noise.
Yeah, and it was definitely, it would be great to sleep with, but it was definitely coming down. I just saw people driving on their little mopeds. Some people with the ponchos on, some people without. And I was like, more power to you for driving in that rain because I would not do it.
Yeah, the water was going up to their ankles.
Yeah.
Even further than that. And I was like, that's gonna be brutal to get to. Like, say if you're going to work or somewhere else and you're just drenched. Like, there was no way that, I know people will pop into a cafe or like go for shade when it rains just to wait for it to stop. But yesterday there was no waiting for it because you'd be waiting hours.
Decided to keep 2 pairs of like work clothes at work, just so that way I'm like, if I get soaked, it's all right.
Yeah, I need to buy a poncho.
Right when they starts raining, what they'll end up doing is someone will probably end up just pulling them out. It's kind of like, well, you need one because it's raining right now, so you might as well buy one.
I want to get like a proper, thick one. I'd love to get one that's like a whole bodysuit, a onesie sort of thing.
Yeah, you could probably
I've got one of those.
It
works pretty well.
Where'd you get it?
The only thing, they have them at the cycling stores. So if you go to some of the motorbiking, cross-country motorbiking stores, they'll have, they're good. Yeah. So should we chat a little bit about what's made you interested in coming to Vietnam? So going back to when you were back home, you're both from the US, Irish American, right?
Yes.
What were you thinking when you were back home? Firstly, what were you doing? And then what made you think that maybe teaching in Vietnam was something you wanted to do?
I'll let you go first.
Yes, okay. Well, what I was doing, I was working as a bartender and server, which was a cool gig. My coworkers were really nice, probably the best that I've had so far. But after a while it kind of gets tiring, working with people and customer service is a lot. But what got me wanting to come to Vietnam is obviously my boyfriend. He did Ninja Teacher back in 2019. And I came and visit for 3 weeks and loved it. It was really cool and I was excited to do it myself. I've always wanted to be a teacher, so it was a great opportunity to go somewhere new together and travel and just do what I always wanted to do, which was be a teacher. So, and now 5 years later, here we are doing it and got it done, and now we're teaching. So yeah.
That's awesome. And then I remember we had a call when Trevor had gone back home, and then you and him jumped on a call with me and saying, now you want to join and come to Vietnam, which was cool. So it's funny seeing that come full circle, where he was here and then he brought someone else with him.
And it was cool because, like, I don't know if I met you then, I don't think so, but I think I met Miranda for sure because they lived in the same apartment complex.
Right.
So when we were coming home one night, we were in the hallway or in the elevator together, and I was like, oh hey. So when I came this time, it was really nice to see some familiar faces. I was like, hi Miranda. I was like, good to see you.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was funny because when we did have that video chat about getting myself set up for Ninja Teacher, it was me and you talking on the computer, and then Trevor was sitting beside me here, and then I turned the camera, and then you're like, oh hey.
Right.
Hey Trevor. Yeah, so that was really cool.
Yeah, it's great seeing people who have either been here a long time and haven't seen them in a while. You know, they come. There were a few actually at the last welcoming meetup from 2019 who had come through the program then, and it's nice to see people that have been here a while or that go and then actually come back to Vietnam. So yeah, that's cool. So how about you, Dom?
So I was working in sales before this. Graduated college, started doing sales for 2 years. Started to hate my job about a year into it. And I've been friends with Leah for, 5-6 years.
Something like that. We met in college.
Yeah, we met in college, and so I've been friends with Leah. So I knew Trevor came and did Ninja Teacher. I was hanging out with her when she's calling him, and he's in bed because it's like 1 a.m, and he's just like, hey Dom, hey Leah, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And we're
the
sitting there trying to eat food, and so I knew that he was here. He was enjoying it, and even then he was like, you should come try this. I ended up, so like I said, I hated my job, and I ended up kind of just moseying around doing my job, just kind of passing time. I didn't really know what to do. And Leah and Trevor were both like, well, we're going to Vietnam. You hate your job. You should come with us. At first I was like, yeah, maybe. And I don't know, that seems a little insane. I was like, there's no way I'm going to move across the world. After a while though, I just like, all right, you know, if I don't say yes, I'm going to regret it, I think. So I finally just said yes. I had an interview with Jared, and it went super well. And then I think I interviewed with him, and then the next day I put my deposit down and was like, I'm going. And so it was nice actually doing Ninja with someone who I've already known, good friends with. So it was easier to adjust here because it was me, Leah, and Trevor who lived together at first. So I didn't have to be like on my own, which a lot of people say that they come here and they're on their own. And I don't know how I feel about being in a new country alone.
Yeah.
But having Trevor, who's done the course a few years ago, made it feel a little bit more comfortable for me, being like, okay, this is kind of normal. This is similar to how the process is going to be. But yeah, so I decided to come with 2 friends that said they were going to go do it. So here we are now.
I'm glad you did.
I know, honestly. It's.
Are you both glad that you did?
Yeah, I'm glad that I did it with Leah, and I think I feel way better about everything now, because if I need like that little bit of home still, I can just go hang out with her.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too to think that when we met in college, we worked together, to think that we'd be in Vietnam now together doing
We worked at a grocery store with a boss that was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
She was weird. Yeah, so.
If she's watching this.
To think that we came from a grocery store in a small town that was a college town where nothing happened.
Where was that?
Washington, Pullman, Washington.
Yeah, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Okay.
To think that someone that I met, and their first time I ever hung out with them was my 21st birthday. We would be in Vietnam together 5 years later, hanging out. There we go.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's been a few months now since you've been in Vietnam. Do you feel like you've settled in?
Yes and no. I remember when we were doing the Ninja course, how we had on the PowerPoint saying like, oh, you feel like it's a holiday, you feel great, and then some things happen and you're like, oh, and you kind of get homesick, and then goes back up, you're feeling great. So I kind of feel like I'm still riding that wave
Yeah.
at the moment, just because with, you know, my job and getting your business visa and your TRC and your work permit, it's very like time consuming.
A lot of
and,
paperwork
like, yeah,
to
and
sort out.
And it takes a long time to do it too.
Moving
Like we're
parts.
used to getting things done like right then and there, but it's like taken now, I want to say like a month to get everything, maybe even 2 months at the end of it, when I feel like it should just be done. Like right when you start your work, within that week, everything should be turned in, but it's kind of just like a bit slower, which
That's the worst part of
Yeah.
living abroad, I think, is all the bureaucracy and
Yeah.
paperwork
Oh,
and stuff like that.
and we're not used to it too. I don't know how things go, and so
Yeah.
I gotta listen to them, and you know, because they know more than me, obviously, and so I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, so some riding that wave and a couple months in, so what are some of the experiences that you've had so far that have been interesting?
Grab drivers, man. Some of these people, I mean, I get it, but grab drivers are a hit or miss. Most of the time it's great. Like I would say 9 out of 10 times, it's a good time. Everyone's super friendly, I will say that. I don't think I've met a single person that was not friendly. And actually, the only not friendly people I've met are foreigners.
Yeah.
But everyone here, they're fantastic. But the grab drivers, sometimes, even today, I'm like, oh, some of them just can't drive sometimes, or just anyone can't drive. And I think the traffic is probably a big factor of like, ooh,
Oh, yeah.
it
Culture
scares
shock.
people a lot. I think that's one of the biggest ways that people get the 4 different things of like culture shock, acceptance, etc. I think once you start accepting the traffic and for what it is, I think that's how you know you're like, all right, this is all right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, when they first get here, that's the big scary part, getting on the back of someone's motorcycle and going into the mayhem that is traffic.
Yeah.
Or getting your own motorcycle and starting to drive. Once you start doing that, I think you start feeling more a part of everything versus just being like, I'm just here, I'm a foreigner in a different country, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, grab bikes are basically like the Uber of Vietnam. You hop on the back of a bike and it takes you wherever you want to go. Some people actually love it, some people have mixed feelings about it. How do you feel using Grab?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait till I start driving my own bike, but it is quite scary because I've, first of all, never driven a bike before. And when I got here, I was never on the back of a bike, so getting on my first Grab bike was quite scary. But after that, I was like, oh, let's do it again. Like, let's go. Like, so now I always prefer taking a bike than a car. But sometimes you gotta take a car. Like myself and my boyfriend, whenever we go somewhere, we prefer to take a car together just so that we can talk. I know some couples, they take bikes separately, which might be a bit cheaper, but at the
Hardly though,
yeah,
I think.
but barely.
It's like
yeah,
it's like 1,000 cheaper.
yeah, not even.
And
like,
when you're
maybe-
with people, you have to get the cars.
Yeah.
Like when it was you, me, and Trevor, we always had to get a car no matter
Yeah.
what because again, there's 3 of us. The bikes are nice if it's solo and it's just you, but like you said, the cars are sometimes it's nice to be in the car. The heat gets to you sometimes, and the bikes don't have. I mean, it's a motorcycle, it doesn't have AC.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on the back of this motorcycle, it's hot, the sun's burning on you, so sometimes get in the car with the AC. And if it's raining, it's like, it's kind of nice, just like not having to deal with certain things.
Yeah.
Although it is a lot slower to get around
It
because
is.
A lot
the
slower.
bikes, can get through.
Expect like double time for like cars.
Yeah.
And especially when you're in a rush too.
Oh my gosh,
And you're just
yeah.
watching the bikes go past you, and you're just like, like it's quite frustrating sometimes.
I was almost late to my first teaching
I remember
with
that.
Ninja because I got a car there because I didn't want to get a bike to go like 20-30 minutes, and so I got a car, and there was so much traffic that even leaving an hour plus, I was still almost late.
Yeah.
Just because of the traffic. So just be prepared for that. The
Especially
traffic.
around when the traffic is bad.
Exactly.
Having a car ride around that time, you're gonna
Yeah,
get
Oh
rush
yeah,
hour,
stuck.
yeah.
it's not worth it.
But you're riding a bike now, right? You
Yeah,
got
so
your own bike.
I drive my bike. I ended up turning it in actually.
Okay.
I'm still looking at a different one. For people out there that you can get multiple different kinds of bikes. You can get semi-automatic, automatic, which is just a twist and go.
Yeah.
That's the best one if you need one and you don't know really
That's
what
what
to
I
do.
have.
Yeah.
I drove a manual, which is just a standard motorcycle, and driving a manual in the city is a nightmare.
Crazy.
I'm sitting there and I'm shifting down gears to go 10 feet, and I have to shift up a gear to go another 10 feet.
So you took that bike back. I saw it. It was pretty
It was
badass.
a nice bike. It was, but I took it back. I'm in the market for getting a new one, and I'm still dead set on it. I think I'm just gonna get a dirt bike.
Okay.
Be easy.
Be careful because you might get pulled over with a dirt bike.
That's fine. So I almost got pulled over yesterday. Me and my coworker were on the back of his bike going home because we live in the same building, so we're just like riding together. And we're riding together, and they have a traffic stop where they're just pulling people over. So you have two foreigners on the back of a bike together,
Yeah.
both pretty big guys, and so we're just sitting there. And the cops look at us, we look at them, we nod at them, they nod at us, and we just go through.
So you're gonna look for another one.
Yeah, I'm looking
maybe
for a new
dirt
bike. Yeah, I'm looking for a new one, and I'm gonna get that, and then I'll be driving again. Because I mean, even right now, just taking a Grab to certain places, it adds up after a while. Grabs are fairly cheap. I mean, I think for me to get here it was $1 USD, and I live pretty far away, and that's nice, but they add up after when you do them like every day.
Yeah.
There, back, there, back, there, back. You do like 5-6 grabs in a day. Like, how'd I spend $15 in one day on motorcycles? It adds up, and for me to go to work, it's 68K, so that's like $250, and it's like 30 minutes, and every day, 5 days a week. There, back adds up to like $2 mil a month. So it's just like worth it to get a bike when you can get one for like $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and gas here is really cheap. So
Gas is really cheap.
I
You can
fill
do
up
one
maybe once a week for 60,000 dong. Which
Exactly.
is less than $3.
Yeah.
And that's like once a week I fill up. So once you've got the bike, it's really cheap. I mean, I wouldn't say by any standards transport's really expensive. Even if
agreed.
If you're comparing it, yeah, but like as you said, 2 mil a month is what, less than $100 a month. So
It's like 40.
Still pretty affordable.
No, it's not.
Like maybe 80.
Yeah, it's like 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
it still adds up though. Like that's $80
Yeah, if you're comparing
that
it.
you can drop down to 40, or once you own a bike, you can even drop it down to like 200K. Once you own one, you're not renting, so you're not paying that renting
Yeah,
fee.
exactly.
You might have to shell up the initial cost of buying a bike, which I've seen people buy mopeds for like $1 mil, $3 mil sometimes. I've seen other people buy them for 15. So depending on what you're looking for, you can get one for pretty cheap actually.
Yeah.
I think something in the range of like 5 years old, 5 to 8 years old, like a Honda, you're not going to have any issues with that, and it's going to be pretty affordable. I wouldn't go for the ones that are like 2 to 3 mil, because I think back when I first arrived in Vietnam, I bought one of those and it was terrible. Like it broke down every few minutes. You know, I was on a budget back then, so it did the job. But I'd recommend paying a little bit more for something reliable.
Yeah. Like we're paying $1 mil a month for our rental bike.
Okay.
Which is not bad.
Yeah, that's good.
And like it's nice being a passenger princess, you know, on the back of the Grabs. But then again, like you gotta wait for them to come, and sometimes they'll accept the ride when they're a bit a ways, which is fine, you know. But if you're in a rush, like sometimes, you know, you leave a bit later than you were expecting to, and then you gotta wait for them to show up. And I'm just excited to be able to like get on my own bike and just zoom off.
There's also that freedom of like you don't have to rely on that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Not relying on someone, I think, is super nice.
Yeah.
I think the city, if you've got your own bike, is amazing for getting around. It's just so convenient.
You
You
can
hop
do cheaper
on,
there,
you go
yeah.
wherever you want within. It's quite an easy city to get around in a lot of ways. So you can just get anywhere pretty much in like 15, 20 minutes. It depends where you live, of course.
Yeah.
But it's a good feeling when you get your own bike.
Yeah.
No, really, it is.
Nice. So let's chat a little bit about how you've been enjoying the teaching. So you've maybe been teaching about a month now, is that right? After the course, you both got jobs, and how's the learning curve been, and how are you getting settled in with the teaching?
Good. I actually use a lot from what we learned in Ninja Teacher in class, which is great because like if I didn't have Ninja Teacher, I'd probably be like, oh, like where do I go now, sort of thing. I mean, obviously, like I probably would have, just figured it out. But I think back to Ninja Teacher, and I'm like, okay, we played these games, we did this, that. So I definitely use a lot of that in class, but it's great. The kiddos are so cute. Like I teach kindy classes, and I have one class that's like maybe 8 to 10-year-olds, and every age group is just so fun. They're different, personalities and how they interact with you. And I think the most like heartwarming, heartfelt thing is when they're like, teacher, teacher, and they're like showing you things that they bring into class, or like whatever they're wearing, they'll show you, and you're just like, oh, good job, like cool. So like it's really rewarding, but also tiring at the same time, because with the kindy classes, you gotta bring the energy, because they're sleepy and they don't know how to share quite yet, and so like some fights will happen, which as they do, so you gotta like separate them and kind of like teach them the ways of just like, okay, like we're in the class together, we need to share, be nice, gentle, that sort of stuff. But I'm having a blast. It's fun.
Nice.
Every day is a learning day for them and myself, so it's a good time.
Nice.
I would say, kind of in agreement with her. I use so much from Ninja that I didn't think I would be using. When I first did my solo teaching, I was nervous. When I was with Ninja, I was extremely nervous. And now if someone needed me to pick up a class for a day, I could easily teach that and be fully confident in myself.
Nice.
I teach mainly upper primary, so a lot of my classes, they're like 12 to 14. And that's super nice because they're at this age of, they know enough English to where I can have a conversation with them. It's a lot more self-discovery learning than it is me teaching them this word, this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. And I actually teach a lot of my classes kind of the same way we do in Ninja. A lot of groups, a lot of peer-to-peer activities versus me getting involved. I'm there to kind of guide them on it, but it's a lot of them figuring it out themselves. And it works out wonderfully. I mean, if I didn't know how to turn everything into a group like we did here at Ninja, I don't think I would be that great in this one. I think I'd do it very teacher-centered, and it just wouldn't work as well. And so teaching a lot of the upper kids I find a lot easier. But like you said, the kindy kids, sometimes you come in and you're like, I'm not feeling it today. I don't feel good. I had a long night, or I've been, busy all day. Do I really want to teach 3-year-olds, some vocabulary words? Then you kind of get in there, and that initial going in there, you're like, all right, I guess here we go. But then you see the kids, and they're all smiling. They have this genuine, like, I like you, teacher. I'm happy.
Excited. They're
excited. They're like genuinely like, hi, teacher. Hi. And you're like, okay. It gets you a little more pumped up. You're like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm excited now. And like you said, the kids are adorable. Some of them are so cute. And then they end up having those moments where they start crying, and you're just like, I feel you. I get it. Sometimes I want to cry too, but I can't. I had kids have a mental breakdown yesterday over musical chairs.
Oh.
Whole class just turned into a cry fest, and I was like, sometimes it's a good time to get a cry in.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you gotta cry.
Sometimes you just gotta cry, but I do like all the classes. They're all fantastic. I didn't think I was gonna like kindy. As someone who, if you would have asked me any day, like, oh, do you like kids? I probably would have told you no. I probably would have been like, nope, I hate kids. But I think I've grown to really enjoy them and really enjoy like their pureness of like just happiness. There's like nothing that really just offsets them in that way. They're happy, they're genuinely happy, and I think that's what I like. So I do really enjoy my classes now.
Nice, and it's great when you see the progress of your students too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh my
you guys
gosh,
are just
yes.
getting your first classes, getting to know them, but you probably already seen some progress, right?
I've already done some tests. First week I got there, I had to do tests for some of my classes, and I'm sitting here grading these kids on their language, and I've never met them. I met them maybe twice, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like at this point I'm not the right person to give them a test or to judge how good at English they are.
Mm-hmm.
But this one girl, she's a good example of her initial test. When I took it, I was like, she's failing. She's doing horribly. I wrote my comments in, typed it up, blah, blah, blah. My head teacher, who's also Vietnamese, she helped me talk to the parents of that student. We kind of came to an agreement with the parents, and last month the student has excelled. She has turned a 180. I made her sit in the middle of the class so that way she can get full view of the board.
Yeah.
And she is one of my best students now. And I think it's also she felt like she needed to catch up because I think she knew that she was behind. You gotta remember that too. They're kids, but when I was a kid, I knew if I was like behind or if I wasn't doing well. I think they know too, and so she's doing great now, and so I'm happy to have her, and I'm happy to continue to help her when she needs it.
That's really nice to see, and over time you get to know the students even more. And
exactly.
If you have a class for a long time, you can take them through the different levels and see their English improve, which is also quite nice.
I have a similar experience. So once I started working, I had to take over from another teacher because they moved to a different school. And my first days with this class, I have a student who has a learning disability, and he was very quiet and wasn't really participating much. And then now, oh my gosh, he's so excited to be there. He's like saying the words with us, and he wants to be involved with the activities that we use. So like to see him go from like not saying a word at all to like saying multiple words. He loves the word octopus, which is amazing.
It's a great word.
Yeah, and orange. So when we were doing the letter O, he was ecstatic.
Orange is really hard for them to learn, but they love it.
And it was really cool too because he actually did a lot better in the speaking test than my other students, which I probably would have thought it would have been the other way around, just because he was so quiet at first. But yeah, no, I love seeing their progress and how like they're doing better and better, and it just like it makes you feel good because you're like, yes, like I've taught them this and they were paying attention, but also like I'm proud of them too for putting in the work and wanting to be better. I
feel fulfilled when I can come in the next week and I'm like, what did we do last week? And they're just like, oh, we learned this and this and this. I'm like, okay, so they remember it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good that like I didn't teach them, and then they went home and went, I'm not gonna learn that.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. So in terms of living in Vietnam, just like day-to-day life, how have you enjoyed life here, and what are some of your favorite things about living here?
I have enjoyed it actually. My apartment when I first got it was quite a nightmare actually. I had a lot of bugs. I had a lot of stuff going on in there. We've had great battles in my apartment, cleared up the bugs, cleared up everything, and I'm starting to kind of enjoy it and accept it. I have to remember that I am in another country. I'm not, in America where it's a lot of cookie cutter homes, a lot of cookie cutter apartments. So I'm not gonna get the same standard everywhere, and it also depends on where you live and what you're gonna deal with. I live on the water, so because I live on the water, I have a decent amount more bugs than other people, and I had to accept that, and it's totally okay now. I don't have any that I know. My place is also on the top floor, so I have to remember that it's gonna get hotter. So initially I wasn't too thrilled with it, but now that I've been there for over almost 2 months in my current place, it's starting to grow on me. I have this lady who's downstairs. It seems like every building here has a downstairs like restaurant or like some sort of shop that's downstairs. I live below a nail place, so maybe I'm gonna get my nails done. We'll see.
Pedicure, yeah.
Yeah, and right next door there's this sweet old woman. She owns a Tom place, and she's only open for a few hours. I can walk down my thing, get something to eat, and then I turn around, go behind my building, go into the alley, and there's like these people have stores out of their houses, and there's this one lady, she's got like a convenience store. So getting familiar with my community and my little area has been such a blessing. People know me, I know them, and so I'm starting to connect with them a little bit more. One of these old ladies, I helped her like get into her house because she was struggling, and since then she'll see me and she'll like either wave to me, or if she tries to talk to me in English, she'll say like, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
And so I help her sometimes, and she teaches me a little Vietnamese. But it is nice being a part of your little community on that, and growing in that respect for like living here.
Yeah.
I also think it's nice to live. I've lived in both. I've lived in like a big community, like big apartment building, which is like mainly expats, you know, big nice apartment buildings that you never have to leave if you don't want to. And then now that I live in somewhere that's a lot more local, it's a whole different experience on both ends, but they're both great.
Yeah.
So do you prefer one or the other, or it's just different?
I think I still prefer the like expat big apartment buildings,
High-rise building, yeah.
high-rise buildings, because I mean, I lived in an apartment in the States for a while, and I like the luxury of how it feels being in a high-rise building. It feels a lot more like community. Like, I do have a washer and dryer in my place, but I have to share it with the whole building. My building's nice, but it's also really dark. It doesn't have a lot of the amenities that the high-rise buildings have. I don't have a pool. I don't have a gym.
Yeah, the amenities are nice.
I have to go find all that, and
You barely have a kitchen.
I don't even have a kitchen, really. Yeah, so
Okay.
that aspect of being in a high-rise building and having all these luxuries with your place, and us being like thankfully able to afford places like that, I think is why I would definitely prefer it still over what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
If I do end up staying here for a lot longer, I will probably move out of my place after my contract into a high-rise building.
Yeah, it's definitely, you see people doing both, and I've done both as well. Lived in sort of the more local spots are usually in a Vietnamese house, one of the tall, skinny houses, and
Yep.
then you have your own sort of studio apartment, maybe
Yeah.
with a small kitchen, open plan space, and that's super affordable usually. And then you can pay a bit more for the luxury high-rise buildings, and you know, I know you guys stayed in the one near here, but there's lots of options, and some are pretty affordable too.
Yeah.
Like you can still afford that as well, with what you earn as a teacher, and yeah, so you can like go either option, I think, and I think both have some pros and cons. You know, I do like the community of the local
Yeah, that
neighborhoods
sounds
as well.
fun.
It is nice, but at the end, it has its drawbacks. I have to deal with bugs, whereas you
Right,
don't.
So you and Trevor got
I live in a high rise. Yeah,
Okay,
we're on
cool.
the 24th floor of a 25 building, so
High up.
yeah, we're up there. The view is quite nice. We were a bit hesitant at first to get that place because we wanted the more, you know, neighborhood, like authentic Vietnamese style places rather than a skyrise, because that's where we were living at first, and it was nice, but it also had its drawbacks, like.
Lots of
and-
people in the elevators.
Yes,
and
yeah.
There's a
like
lot. I would say the high-rise buildings in your apartment is quiet,
Yeah,
but to leave your apartment is always like something happening.
yeah. Like when we lived together, Ninja Teacher got done at 4, and we lived across from an international school, which also got done at 4. And so the traffic to get in and out of that
It
place
took us like
was
15
mental.
minutes just to get into our elevator.
Yeah, and
And
then
there's like 10 elevators, and they're
Yeah.
all full.
and then
Yeah.
then to get into our like on our floor, everyone was fighting for the elevator, and like people would go into the elevator before letting the people come out of the elevator. So it was very
Yeah.
hectic.
Yeah.
And so where we're living now, the elevators are a lot slower. So
Okay.
we're like hitting the button, like, come on. But it's nice. The view, we're looking over like an empty field and then like a temple, which is really nice because at night they'll have the lights around it, which is
You
really
showed me
pretty.
that video
Yes,
of it. Yeah.
At first we were a bit scared because the empty field looked like there was going to be construction. And I know you can't get away from it because it's a big town, big city. There's always going to be something happening, but we just moved from a loud place we don't want to go to another loud place. And so we were speaking with our landlord, kind of asking, is there going to be construction? And they're like, no. Construction will probably be like a year out or something like that. And we're like, oh, okay, like you promised us, because, we don't want to be around it. And they said that we're so high up that we probably won't even hear it anyways.
That is high up, yeah.
So, and then now we're looking across the field and there's people in there with
God,
trucks
no.
and like
Are they really?
diggers. I don't know what you call them here.
Like an excavator?
Yeah. But they're actually taking like the barbed wire and like the really long like metal poles and stuff out of there and probably bringing them somewhere else. So as long as they're not bringing things in, we're fine.
You're watching it like hawks.
But yeah, no, honestly. But other than that, like, it's great. We love it. The other places that we were looking at that had the more like Vietnamese like neighborhoods, the apartments were just really small for us because I'm 6 foot, Trevor's 6'6", and we came from a studio apartment of 3 years that we were like, okay, we need to somewhere a bit
You guys
bigger.
having your space is so much nicer because your other place was very small.
Yeah, it was
Back
very
home,
small.
yeah.
And so
How big is this one?
it has like a bedroom, I don't know the square footage, a living room, a dining room, and like a kitchen. And then we have a little like deck that has the washer.
When it was you, Trevor, Eric, me, and Tim there, it didn't even feel like super crowded, and there was 5 of us in there.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty tall, so it was like not that bad.
Yeah, like we could have a couple people over and it would be comfortable.
It is really nice though.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. I like your place.
Yeah.
And is it still affordable?
Yes. Yeah, I'm the one that's making money at the moment, which is kind of nerve-wracking because that means like I have to work a lot and I'm working every day except for Monday. And then starting June 3rd, I will be working every single day. So it's kind of
Summer camp.
Yeah, summer camp's coming up. So I need to work that because I need to make money because I'm paying for 2 people.
Gotcha.
My boyfriend, he does have like stocks and stuff like that. So I mean, he does have an income, but like not as much. So it is nice that he has that. And then he's building a startup. And so hopefully, and they have a grant from the government, which is nice, but they need to finish the project to be able to make money for it. So when that happens, then hopefully people will be purchasing it and we'll both have an income. But for at the moment, it's just me, so it is
working as extra hours. Because in Vietnam, you typically pay per hour, so if you work more, then you can earn more, right? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But then too, like saying how you're walking around your place and you start to like see familiar faces.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that too. There's these 2, they're different floors. I got one person on my floor, he's an older man and he's trying to talk to me in English, but his English isn't that great, so it's a bit hard to understand, but he's trying, he wants to be friendly, and so we're talking. And then there's another lady that's a couple floors below us that we run into all the time, and she's really nice as well. So it is nice to see, familiar faces and that they're happy to see us. I don't think our doorman is quite happy. One of them, he's just... There's never a smile on his face.
He's probably been out there for like 12 hours. He probably hates it.
Some of those security guys work long.
Yeah.
They also, that was another thing that kind of threw me off. Sometimes they live in like the basement or like right there.
Yeah.
That always threw me off because I would think that you would, be able to go home. But when they say 24-hour security, I mean, they mean it.
I think sometimes people that live out in the provinces with their family, they come into work so that they live there and work and stay there.
Yeah, like this security guard that I'm talking about, like we came home one night pretty late and he's asleep at the desk sort of thing. But I don't blame him because I'd be doing the same thing,
Yeah.
But during the day and stuff like that, when he's working, he sees us coming and then he'll pretend to do something else. Like he'll like file the mail that's outside the packages, and so like I'll have to go like hit the door.
Maybe he's scared of giants.
I don't know, maybe. But then there's this other security guard and his smile is so contagious. He's always so happy. He's the sweetest guy. I'd love to like, get to know him a bit better just because he's so like happy compared to the other guy. But, you know, being there all day, I can definitely see
Maybe
the,
buy
like,
him like a drink or something. Like
Maybe.
just buy him like a tea and just like, here you go, and just leave.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
he
true.
won't. And just be like, all right, see if he, you know,
Yeah.
maybe
Just
he
a
hates
little
it.
bit of bribery. You know,
Right,
Yeah.
get on his good
Bribery
side.
works.
He's so cool though too, the one that's not so happy, because he has his little key card in his tie, and so he'll just lift his tie up and go boop and like touch the like little scanner and let us in. But
I
yeah.
just remembered something you mentioned about Trevor being really tall,
Yeah.
and like how sometimes people like take photos of him because
Yes.
he's like really tall, and they're
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, like when we were here back in 2019, I think it was Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. I can't quite remember what day it was, but we were walking Busy Street, Boivien, and of course the height difference, like Trevor's like up to here on me and I'm here, and we can see over a lot of people, and so we can always see what's going on. Like if there's a traffic jam with people walking, we can kind of like, you know, walk around because we can see pretty far. And there was this little lady, God bless her, she was like trying to take a sneaky selfie with us in the background, but we could see over her. And so I just tapped her on the shoulder and was like, do you want to take a photo? And she was like, yes, please. And so she's looking up at us and says, yeah, yes, please, you know. And so she gives her phone to whoever she was with. And I wish I had this photo because I'm to here on Trevor, and then she was like down to my tummy, like to my hip,
Oh, God.
basically. So I like, she was in the middle between us. So I would have loved to have seen that photo. But yeah,
That's classic.
no, it is quite funny. Like, especially if you are tall, a lot of times like people on their bikes, they'll start like, you know, rubbernecking, we call it. They start to like look behind. It's like, no, eyes on the road. Like, watch where you're going. Don't look at me, sort of thing. But yeah, it is.
In general, do you feel the Vietnamese people are welcoming and friendly?
I love it.
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
so friendly.
they are friendly. I get stared at a lot, and the duration of the stare is quite like shocking to me.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
like I'll make eye contact with them too, and you know normally when someone makes eye contact with you, you then like, you know, you look away.
They challenge you.
But they're still looking at you, sort of thing. And so like I get shy, and so I'll look away. But other than that, yeah, very nice.
I get a lot of kids and teenagers come up and touch my arms. That's the
Oh,
one. And
your
it's
tattoos,
because of
yeah.
my tattoos. They'll
Oh,
come
yeah.
up to me and they'll go like this, and they'll just
Making
like,
sure it's real.
yeah, and they'll just like touch my arms, and that's what I get a lot of. But it's not. But I do get stared at, but it's never like ill-intended.
Yeah, I
they're
don't think so.
they're so nice. I've had people come up to me when I've been walking around at night in my area and like, are you okay? Like they will pull up their phone to like translate, do you need help? And so
Thinking you're lost.
Yeah, and I'm
You
like,
must
oh,
look
that's-
confused.
I probably do. And so I'm like, okay, that's super nice. They try to help you when they can.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a mutual understanding of neither of us speak the language of each other, and we're both trying to be as friendly as we can with
Yeah.
each other. I mean, a lot of times it's either facial expressions that I'm going with, and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a good time. And I will say the sweetest people, I think, will be the little vendors or like food places, like Compton places, where they're cooking their food there. You go and sit down. They love when you go and sit down at like a real authentic like place. They want you to try the food. They want you to try everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't eat it a lot, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'll eat like half my rice and my food, and then they'll be like, did you not like it? And I'm like, no, I did.
Yeah.
But they're like, if you don't like it, you don't have to pay for it. I'm like, no, it's okay. And so I would say the people are very sweet. They try to give you a little extra too on top of whatever they're giving you. They want to be nice.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I love that. There's this guy who cooks, I don't know what it is, it's like pork on lemongrass outside on Saturday mornings when I'm at work. He sees me, I see him, we make eye contact, and he knows that I want extra. And so he'll make me it, and then he'll add a little extra in there. And then sometimes he'll give me a drink for free. He's like, no, it's okay. So I give him a little bit more cash.
Yeah.
Because, which I thought was surprising, is if you go to America, you give someone a little extra cash, they're just going to take it and be like, thank you. They will like fight you if you try to overpay them.
Yeah.
They will
refuse.
fight you on it. I've had the like people where I'm like, just take the extra 10. You were fantastic. This is great.
Yeah.
I've been to this restaurant like 10 times, and every time I love it. I try to give them like a little extra, and they're like, no. And they will fight me on it. And I'm like, no, take it.
Right.
And so they are very like sweet and nice.
Yeah. And do you guys like the Vietnamese food?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I had a weird sausage last night. I don't know what it was. I'm very much
Was it like a spicy sausage?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm very much I'll eat it. Don't tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had that. It sat well in my stomach, so it was great. I do like the Vietnamese food. Surprisingly, my least favorite is probably pho.
Yeah.
The pho's good. It's a consistent one. But if I'm gonna have like a soup, I'd rather just have ramen.
It's just simple. And actually, surprisingly, all Vietnamese people I speak to say, I don't, pho's okay, like I don't really like it that much. But it's known as like the most common food outside of Vietnam.
Yeah.
That and banh mi probably, but actually Vietnamese people, it's not something they eat every day or maybe like once in a while
pho,
kind of thing.
My friend, he's Vietnamese, he was telling me that he only has pho if he's like sick or if it's like for him like a cold day. Yeah. He'll have pho. That's the only time he'll eat it though.
Right.
But he's also the one who took me to my favorite thing that I've had in Vietnam so far, which is bun ca go.
Bun gan.
Co. It's crab stew.
Yeah, bun gan something.
Yeah, you had that for breakfast.
And we had it for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I was looking for my apartment. My friend is a realtor here in Vietnam, and we're gonna go look at apartments, but we went to go get breakfast first, and I was like, I told him the night before, I was like, I like crab, shrimp and stuff, I like seafood, and so he's like, okay, I'll take you somewhere. My thought is, we'll go there for lunch. It'll be a good lunch. I was like, oh, it'd be great. No, he's like, it's like 9 a.m. He's like, yeah, no, we're gonna go to get some crab, and I was like, dude, it's 9 a.m.
Yeah.
It was a spicy udon noodle, so fat noodles, spicy udon noodle, like broth, and it was crab, shrimp, a crab sausage, which I did not like really, but it was all right, and like green onions, a bunch of other stuff, and it was delicious. It was like a spicy breakfast stew thing. It only cost me like $30K, $40K, and it was one of the best things I've had here. And when I went in there, I was the only foreigner. We're deep in the city. It's me and a bunch of other local people, and everyone is like staring at me like, does he like it?
Yeah.
The lady who's cooking or who's making it, she's like, does he like it? Is he gonna eat it? I eat the whole bowl, and she's just like, nice.
Yeah.
But it was delicious. Could I find that place again? No, I couldn't tell you where I went. I'd have to ask him.
But you can go anywhere in the city and find new dishes, right? Like just go down an alley, you could try this place or this place. Yeah. There's all sorts of different dishes you can try.
You can get almost anything here in the city, and that I do like that. If you're feeling up for it, there is somewhere for you. Yeah. And I think my palette of food has expanded on a lot of different things.
Especially if you're feeling homesick too.
Yes.
And like you don't want to eat any Vietnamese food. Like you can go get your American food, your British food, your South African food, like anything. Like it's all over the place. So you don't have to stick to Vietnamese food. And I have been guilty, I will admit, that I'm more on the Western food side just because I'm, as I say, a selective eater.
Whatever you want to call it.
A picky eater. But I am getting like, coming to Vietnam has really pushed me out of my comfort zone. Like when we did Ninja Teacher, we went to the restaurants around here and there's no Western foods around here. So I definitely had to like, you know, okay, yeah, I'll try that. Sure, I'll try that. Don't know what it is, but like, here we go. And I will admit I was a bit hesitant and scared to like try new things just because I think I have this thing where it's like, oh, I'm paying money for it. If I don't like it, then like that kind of sucks. Like I've now just spent something that I don't like or don't want. But the food around here was actually really good, and that's coming from someone who's a picky eater. But
yeah, Ninja's in a good location for food.
Yeah.
The teriyaki chicken place.
Oh, she's my favorite woman in the whole city. There's when you come here, if anyone's watching this and they come to do Ninja, there's a teriyaki place. This woman's a sweetheart. Yeah, she gives you free bananas. She has a nice restaurant, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
I'm going there today. She remembers me, and she's excited to see us every time.
Yeah.
It's my favorite woman in the whole city.
Yeah.
Would you say, Leah, I know that you said you're a selective eater. Would you say that you think if you stay here for a lot longer, it'll broaden to maybe trying a lot of things that you're not too keen
I
on?
think I'll have to, whether I want to or not, because the Western food is quite expensive.
It does add up after a while.
And I feel like I'm not getting the proper like experience because I'm eating British food, I'm eating American food, like Japanese, all that sort of stuff. So I do, like even now, just the time that I've been here, I need to like be better and be like, okay, I need to like explore more, because like a lot of our friends will go to a restaurant and I'm like, I know Dom has like, made days like, oh, let's go out to eat. And he's like, oh, but Leah probably wouldn't like this place, so let's go here instead. And I hate being that like burdens sort of thing. So I do need to, man up. And
I think it's hard because it's not really manning up, but it's just like we're so used to in America, if you're like, can I get this without this? Or
right.
Do you have it this way? You don't have that ability to, can I get chicken, no bone?
Yeah.
Like, do you have chicken without the bone? Do you have, this without this? I was thinking about this as well, for like allergies. I think coming here would be really hard for someone who had like a peanut allergy or some sort of allergy where it was a little aggressive. And so you're sitting here like, I don't know how I would navigate eating somewhere and not knowing really what's in it.
It depends. Like I think peanuts is one that like if you learn the word and you say no peanuts, you can tell them. And I know someone who's got the coriander, not allergy, but to them it tastes like soap. Yeah, and then they put that in quite a few dishes here, and then they're always trying to ask like no coriander, but it's already in there.
It's already made. Yeah.
Yeah. So my coworker, he is vegetarian, and when we try to go places, I mean, we're conscious of it, and he knows that, and so he like asks for like, do you have vegetarian options? Some of the places, they're just like, no, we don't, or they say they do, but it's definitely not.
Yeah.
And so like having that, sometimes that like certain aspect on food, it makes it harder to find places. But I think when you do find a place, it becomes one of your like favorite places here. Yeah. It's like, okay, I know I can go here, I can get this.
Yeah, and each restaurant usually specializes in something, so you go there for this or that. Because if you're vegetarian, there's loads of vegetarian restaurants, but it's like just vegetarian food, or just this dish.
I've noticed that, the only time you'll ever find like a restaurant that'll have like chicken, beef, like steaks, everything that you're used to in like America is like Western places. Yeah. You go somewhere here, it's like they only have pork, they only have chicken, or they only have like beef or something.
Right.
And it's like, okay, at least like kind of what you're gonna be getting. So that's not bad, but you think you would try chicken on the bone?
I don't know. That's a thing of mine. It's like, if you're drinking something and it's supposed to be nice and smooth and then you get like a clump in it, it's like that for me. Like, because if you're eating the chicken and then you like bite into the bone, or you get like the bone in with your bite, like you kind of have to like fish it out and sort of stuff. So like, I can't do chicken on the bone. We went to a place here, and like Dom knows that I can't do chicken on the bone, and I ordered something, of course, chicken on the bone.
I forgot to tell her that it was.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh man, like I tried it, I did, but I just couldn't get past it.
So I had to give her my food.
And so then we swapped, and then Dom was like eating my chicken, but then would like take off a bit and like throw it like on my plate. So like he was peeling the chicken off the bone for me. What a good friend. Yeah.
Friends looking out for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So how about other things to do in Vietnam? Is there anything that stands out that's fun or interesting that you've been able to get up to? You also mentioned you're doing a few of the travel things like Cu Chi tunnels you guys are going to do soon.
Yeah.
We're doing that Monday.
I think you get so caught up in doing ninja, getting your job, and like stressing out because you're like, I'm doing this course, it's every day, and then you have all the extra activities you have to do for the course. Then you get your job, and then you're stressing about your job. Mm-hmm. So then you kind of forget that, remember, you're in a foreign country that you may or may not have been to, so it's okay to do touristy things even though you do live here. And so we're going to do the tunnels, and then I'm going to town outside the city for the first time. I haven't left the city like to go anywhere and visit. And then
Besides Cambodia.
Besides Cambodia. And then I have a trip with some ninja classmates in July, first week of July, and we're going to go to the Lat.
Oh, nice.
And I think it really depends on what you're looking for. You can find almost anything here.
Yeah.
By one of our friend Dan, he lives next to a bunch of soccer fields. So if you're like looking to get into soccer and stuff, you can go over there and just play soccer. If you're looking to do like sports, you can do that. It's depending on you and what you're looking for, but also be conscious that you might have to leave the city for certain things. 'Cause it is a city and there's no hiking here, but you can, if you like that, everything's within pretty close. You can go out and still be fairly close to everything.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to do in Ho Chi Minh itself. You know, there's like teams, you know, there's like the Gaelic football, there's AFL, there's soccer, there's badminton, American football, flag football, like the list goes on, tennis, like there's a whole bunch of clubs that you can join, which is really cool. I really wanted to join one, but my work schedule just doesn't let it happen. And so like that's the other thing too, is that, you know, we all have different schedules. So when we do try and do things together, like when we're going to the tunnels, like it's my day off, but
I have to work,
but Dom has to work later that day, so we got to go early, and so we kind of just have to bounce around people's schedules. And yeah, there's so much to do in the town. You can, like, you know, if you're interested in going out, there's a lot of that. Karaoke for those who love to sing. If you're whether you're good or bad at it, there's
even if you don't love to sing, just the experience.
Yeah,
is
just
fun.
to go out with friends and like watch them make a fool of themselves and stuff like that. It's fun.
Yeah.
There's also like cat cafes and dog cafes.
So cute.
So if you're missing your furry ones back home, you know, you've got that fix here. We went to one a couple of weeks ago, and it's a 3-story building. On the first floor they have dogs, second floor they have cats, and on the third floor they have dogs and cats. We only went to the cat floor, but we're definitely going to go back and go to the other floors too, because like you see animals out and about, but maybe don't touch them because you don't know if they've got fleas or if like, you know, other things, or like, you know, the owners don't want strangers petting their animals and stuff like that. So there's cat cafes that you can go to.
You get your job, you get working, and then you're sitting there like, am I going to be able to do this? Because when you look at your work schedule, it's usually doesn't allow you to travel very often. You're like, okay, I have one day on. Like for me, my days off are Tuesday and Thursday, so I don't work those 2 days, but I work Wednesday, so I can't do like a 3-day trip. But I think what's nice is the companies that you can work for are very understanding that you are a foreigner at the end of the day, and they know that you probably want to do certain things. And so a lot of times if you ask for the time off, there's a lot of teachers you can easily get the time off and go do that 3-day trip, and everything's fairly affordable in terms of like getting there. For example, we had to go to Cambodia for our trip or for our visas, and going to Cambodia was only $30 for a bus ride. Everything's fairly affordable to get somewhere. Some things are actually cheaper than that. It was actually $20. It was $20.
Yeah.
Some things are cheaper as well, and that's like you get on the bus and you can go somewhere out of the city, spend a couple days, come back, and our jobs are kind of nice where I don't technically work on Monday until 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So
you could do things in the morning.
You can, if you want to do something touristy midday, get lunch with some friends, do a bunch of stuff, and then go to work, you can. If you want to, you know, do something the night before because everyone else is going out, you can do something the night before, and then you don't have to work till late the afternoon the next day. So
and how many hours would you say you're working per week at the moment?
Me, I'm working full-time, so 16 and a half for me, but it's going to be going up. I think you're doing more, right?
Yeah, I'm doing like almost 20, and it will be more.
Yeah.
With
June.
the summer camp, yeah.
But we're also oddballs. We both said we wanted to work more. So you can, I have friends who work 12. I have friends who work 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really depending on you, your lifestyle, and what your interests are.
How much free time you want to have versus how much you earn.
Yeah, it's also like depending on what you want to do for your schedule. You actually have a few friends who've gotten super lucky with their schedules, and they work Monday through Thursday, and so then they have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. You have 3 days off in a row. You can
That's nice.
You can leave somewhere Thursday night, do 2-3 days, come back. You can even come back Monday morning, and you don't have to work until Monday night if you didn't want
That's
to.
a little bit rare. I think people shouldn't expect that.
No, you shouldn't, but it does happen.
Sometimes it can happen depending on the class schedule.
Saigon is a very nightlife driven city. For being a big city, I mean, I've been in big cities. I've spent a lot of time in New York. I've spent a lot of time in Boston.
Well, it's too hot to be doing things in the day.
There is so much more going on in this city than anywhere else that I've been. Like you said, it's too hot. Like 6 p.m. to like 2 in the morning, peak hours here.
Yeah.
Everyone is popping.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing karaoke. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's eating. I have never seen more people having a good time just with their friends, out and about, than here at night. I mean,
or like even just taking walks, going to the park, because it's cooler in the night, obviously. So.
Yeah, the city comes alive at night in a lot of ways. Yeah, but then there's also stuff to do in the daytime if you want to use those daytime hours.
There is, but it is really hot, and like
That's true.
My place is really hot during the day, and so it's kind of nice because it gives me a reason to leave between the hours of 12 and 3, go do something.
Yeah.
Be not in my apartment, be at the movies, or be at the gym, or be picking up another hobby, doing something.
Someone else,
Doing something that's not sitting at home in the heat.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think about like going back to our work sort of thing. I think it's really cool because like we did the Ninja Teacher together, and now we're working at different places. But if we do go out, like he'll invite his coworkers, I'll invite my coworkers, and now our coworkers are friends, and
or they already knew each other.
Yeah, or they already knew each other, and I'm friends with his coworkers and vice versa because of the Ninja Teacher community. Like it's very
it is nice,
it's very cool to be like, oh, like especially like the welcome drinks too, or the welcome night.
You can meet a lot of people from different companies that you're like.
And different countries too, like it's just...
you can meet a lot of people, and then you have now you have connections for like everywhere. If someone's maybe visiting here for drinks, but they're a Ninja alumni and they live up in Da Nang, you go up there and you became good friends. Now you have someone to kind of hang out with in Da Nang.
Yeah.
Even though it's a few hours away, you kind of forget that you could do Ninja and really go anywhere. I mean, we have one friend who's in our course, and Brian, and he is up in Hanoi now. So when I go up to Hanoi,
You can go visit him.
I can visit Brian and hang out with him. And it's like he now lives up there, and so he'd be like, all right, this is the spot, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. But it's cool knowing that we're not all just one company at, wherever here in Saigon. It's everywhere in Vietnam, and it could be any company.
Or even outside of Vietnam. Like, we've got another Ninja Teacher classmate that's now in Thailand, and she might stay there. And so we've been messaging. She's like, yeah, come visit. I was like, I will. Say less. I'll show up.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to form those connections. And I see a lot of people making really good friends on the course, and other alumni, people who did the different courses become friends, and just see those friendships going on for a long time, which is really nice.
And even like if we're outside of Vietnam, like say we end up in Australia and we can hit up our friend from there, or if we're in England, we can message our friend from there. I hope when I'm in Ireland that people will come visit me and stuff.
I won't.
And so like that's really cool to just have all these people from all over the world come to this one spot for the same goal, and now
unique experience.
And now we can if we never see them again in Vietnam, we might be able to see them outside the world, in the rest of the world, which is kind of crazy to think, but also really cool.
Great. So what would you say to someone who's maybe considering teaching English abroad and who's on the fence maybe, or is just thinking of doing it? What would you point out
Don was
to
on
them?
the fence. We had to pull teeth to get him to come here.
As someone who was on the fence for a long time on it, I'm sorry. I would say just do it.
Yeah.
I know it's easier said than done, but I think if you're on the fence, you know, you have a couple factors at home that you're like, I want to leave, just do it. I mean, worst case scenario, it's not for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And
it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And you go back to your home country.
Or somewhere else.
Or somewhere else. Again, maybe Vietnam's not for you, but teaching might be for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can go to Thailand. You can, I don't know where else can you take it anywhere?
Yeah, pretty much.
You can
anywhere.
take it, I mean, you can go teach in Africa if that's up for you. Like,
Yeah.
it is really kind of what you're looking for, but I think if you're on the fence, I say do it, because I know myself, I was on the fence for a long time, and I think if I was still at home right now and Leah was sending me videos or pictures of them in Vietnam, I know I would sit there and kind of self-hate and
FOMO.
And be like annoyed with myself and pissed that I didn't do it.
I'd rub it in your face too.
And yeah, that I didn't, and that I didn't, like, I would regret it, I think.
Yeah.
And I think if you're on the fence, I think just doing it is that good opportunity to.
And I know it's scary. Like,
Absolutely.
jumping to like a new country, especially if you've like never left your home country before, and like, you know, the language barrier, the like food difference, like not knowing people, but like you'll get to meet people, you'll get those friendships really quickly. I think the most expensive part is the plane ticket, really, coming over, and once you're here, it's like everything's smooth sailing. And I just think too, like if you don't really know what to do with your life, if you're kind of like in a rut and you're like, oh man, I've been, you know, living in this town for a couple of years now, working the same job, I don't really see myself going anywhere, or like, you know, becoming a better person or anything like that, I say do it, like, because it's so like exhilarating too to be here, and like just like I said with like a school day, every day is a school day, you're learning something new, and like it makes you a better person, you learn more, you get smarter, you know, you feel world like traveled, like it's so cool to be like, oh yeah, I live in Vietnam now, you know, and just like posting things, like, you know,
Yeah.
It's not all about posting, but like, you know, I'll send videos to like my family and friends, and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool that you're doing that, because who says that they're just gonna come to Vietnam, like to teach? Like it's so random to some people, but honestly, like we'll remember this for the rest of our lives.
And it's also, like you said, it is scary because you don't know anyone,
Yeah.
and you're moving alone, but you have to remember as well, the 15 other people in the course did the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the same boat. We all know that first month is an interesting time. Yeah, you know, you're sitting here like, did I do something right? I don't know anyone here. These people are all from all over the world, and I'm just kind of in a course. And then you meet all the alumni as well who are still in the city, and I know what it's like to be the person who's like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah, but hearing the alumni stories too makes you excited to like to be here and do what they're doing, and like you guys were really great on like welcoming us in and making sure that we were like, you know, set and safe, and like from going from the course to our new jobs, like you guys did an amazing like
Even
helping
now.
us.
Yeah,
Even now, like we can always reach out to you guys. Like we're still on a Facebook group, and I messaged you guys last night.
She checks in on me and asks how I'm doing, and
asking
I'm like,
for
great.
help, and yeah, it's great. It's a great community, like with the Ninja Teacher, and then of course like the people that you meet outside of Ninja Teacher. Yeah, so I mean, do it. Good.
I'm glad you guys feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for sharing. As you said, it's nice to be able to see stories of people. So I think people watching this will really appreciate you guys sharing your experiences.
Definitely.
And so thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go get some teriyaki chicken.
Oh,
Yes.
this lady and me are gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
She's gonna cook me a
She's so
great
sweet.
meal.